I appreciate everybody sticking around just a few more minutes. I know everybody's hungry, but this is a really a great conversation. Boeing's doing a lot with additive manufacturing, and it's doing a lot to evolve aerospace and the aerospace industry, and I'm hoping he has a lot of great input. I'm Chris Wentworth from CMTC. What I do is I help manufacturers in California understand additive manufacturing, de-risk the adoption of it, integrate into their business. And from that standpoint, a lot of my customers ask, you know, what do you do for part certification? What do you do for quality? How does the parts stand up to conventionally manufactured parts? So with that, William Haas is a supply chain manager for Boeing Defense and Security Systems. He leads a team of professionals procuring machine parts, standards, composite structures, tooling, additive manufacturing commodities for multiple defense and space programs. Additionally, he leads the BDS Center for Excellence for Additive Manufacturing procurements across the enterprise. So I'll turn it over to him. He has a few slides to share, and then we'll field some questions.
Great. Well, thanks, Chris. I totally understand that I'm between your lunch, so I'm going to try to go as fast as possible here. Second, full disclosure, I am on enemy territory. I'm a Notre Dame football fan. So, yeah. And then third, full disclosure, I'm not an engineer. So I'll try to talk about what I can within additive manufacturing. But most of my team and what I deal with is the suppliers, okay? So I thought I'd just start off with just a quick overview of the Boeing company. Just kind of what we do today. These are our main business units, our BCA, Commercial Airplanes Division, up in Seattle and Charleston. Most of you hopefully have ridden a Boeing aircraft before and had a good experience. Our BDS division, of which I'm from, is headquartered in Arlington, Virginia. We build F-18s, F-15s, Apaches, Chinooks, satellites, P-8s, and a whole bunch of missiles as well. And then our new division, Boeing Global Services, stood up, really serving the aftermarket spares for both our commercial aircraft and our defense products as well. It's about a $8 trillion industry over the next 10 years, aerospace, and of course Boeing wants to play in that more and more, right? Here's where we are as a company. Last year, about $93 billion in revenue. We have over 140,000 employees across 65 countries. And a lot of our products are built through our great suppliers right here in the state of California. We spend about $6 billion annually with suppliers in the state of California. Here we have divisions in El Segundo, Huntington Beach, Long Beach, and you know, we have over 40,000 retirees, a lot of legacy aerospace experience here in the Southern California region. This is a little bit more about my division, Boeing Defense. We're about $21 billion business, 35,000 employees. Here in the El Segundo region, we build our satellites. So hopefully you've heard of DirecTV. That was invented in El Segundo. We built those satellites, GPS satellites. And then down in Huntington Beach, we do some of our unmanned underwater submarine activity down there. And so that's just kind of a general overview of the Boeing company. My team specifically procures a lot of the additive manufacturing parts across BDS and a lot of our platforms. And we are actively working on standing up a supply chain.
So speaking to that, so what led your involvement in additive? What have you done to develop a supply chain, and what are you doing? What are you looking for in a supplier?
Yeah, so Boeing's been involved with additive manufacturing for a couple of decades, right? This is not a new technology per se to Boeing, Chris. We have additive manufacturing parts on our commercial aircraft today. We have additive manufacturing parts on our F-15s and F-18s today, right? So this is something that we're familiar with and we're working to grow within the Boeing company as we see it reducing our costs, shortening our lead times, introducing new materials that make our products lighter and therefore more fuel efficient. The Boeing company is heavily investing in additive for those specific reasons. Now, we always have grown a supply chain. We always have a supply chain supporting Boeing, and they're a vital part of our business today. And we want to grow suppliers to support this kind of increasing growth and demand as we grow the amount of additive parts throughout all of our business units and product lines. We need suppliers to be able to support that growth and that demand. So that's where my team comes into play. We're helping as our engineering department designs new parts and takes advantage of the additive manufacturing technologies that are out there. We definitely want to integrate our supply chain as business partners to build these products.
So when I say what are you looking for, what kind of certifications do you look for a supplier?
Right. So, obviously we're dealing with additive manufacturing as a new commodity, but the fundamentals of being a supplier to Boeing in additive manufacturing don't change. So, AS 9100, Rev D, we want to be able to see, the previous topic was about cybersecurity, right? You need to have proper cybersecurity controls in place. Effective MRP management systems, right? Those fundamentals will never change. We're looking for suppliers who can deliver on time with great quality, right? And then match that with the technology itself, right? And having the capability. Specifically within our additive manufacturing suppliers, some of our top performing suppliers have metallurgists on staff, right? Right. They know the technology, they know the materials inside and out, they know how the machines work, they have years of experience with those machines because their businesses depend on being able to produce parts for customers on those machines. So having in-depth knowledge in the technology and then combining that with what I call the fundamentals of being an aerospace supplier.
Okay. I've got a question from Brian Buss. It says, William, beyond quality, DoD, environmental, what other new compliance requirements are starting to be flowed down? Diversity, SB8, so forth.
Yeah, well, we do have diversity requirements. We love working with our small businesses. I have many small businesses. A lot of our additive manufacturing suppliers are small businesses, and we've seen them grow, from 5 to 10 people up to 50 to 100, right? Over time, as we grow our insertions of additive into our product lines, our suppliers grow along with us, and again, we get great value from our small businesses. So we do have diversity requirements. We do have quality requirements we flow down on every contract. So and a lot of that has to do with our AS 9100 specifics regarding our inspections, material verification, first article inspection requirements, right? So those are not changing. Those are pretty standard within the aerospace industry, and I don't see anything different there.
So there's nothing been added between additive and subtractive. It's the same process.
It's overall basically the same process.
Great. What limitations have you found in the additive manufacturing process?
So a lot of our suppliers with building our parts struggle in the I would say the post machining of additive. So you could build a part, right? But then you've to get the surface finishes sometimes that we call out. Struggling with machining these very complex parts. Post-processing, right, exactly. And it's funny, the same struggles that exist at a machine shop exist at an additive shop, right? Sub-tier management control, right? Working with your outside processors, managing to make sure they deliver on time, the testing requirements that you've got to send your parts at hipping, right? If the parts got to get painted, and specifically with additive, you have to get your parts post-machine in most cases. Right. we've seen a lot of our parts get scrapped in the supply chain during those post-machining processes. So if you're looking to get into additive, I think it'd be really important to partner with a really good machine shop that knows how to machine complex parts.
Okay. How many suppliers do you have right now that do additive?
Well, we've got a lot of suppliers.
Generally, I know you
generally,
can't go
we do, additive. There's a lot of different manufacturing methods and machine types within additive manufacturing, right? And Boeing is interested in all of them, right? And we do have suppliers in most all of those categories, right?
How important would you say additive is? If you have a DoD supplier, a CNC shop, injection mold, or whatever, would you recommend they get into additive, or would you just say, no, there's people popping up?
Yeah, one of the areas Boeing has really found value within additive is not necessarily just in flyaway parts, but also within our tooling and our spares departments, non-flyaway parts that help us manufacture whatever we're making faster, right? So if there's a jig or something that you can build via a plastic part or something that helps you integrate or assemble a part faster, really encourage our suppliers to look at those ways. Maybe you're not playing in the flyaway part category arena, but you're looking at non-flyaway parts, plastic parts, for example, tools and jigs that can help you build your parts faster. So things that can make your employees more safe, right, while working and building parts, right? Safety is a big thing at Boeing, and we want our suppliers and our workforce within our suppliers to be safe. And additive is one of those ways from a non-flyaway tooling standpoint. There's some good opportunities there.
Right. What percentage of components does Boeing procure using additive manufacturing versus traditional methods, and what has been the increase in the last 10 years? Yeah,
well, we've seen substantial increase. Obviously, additive is a growing field within Boeing, right? We just got an FAA certification, on our commercial aircraft side for structural titanium parts. We've announced within our commercial crew, we're sending astronauts up to the International Space Station. Our commercial crew vehicle, we're doing a lot of additive in the vents and ducts. So it is a growing field, right? Obviously, we deliver a lot of parts within the Boeing company, and additive, today is a small but I would say growing part of that business.
Good question. How do you accept additive manufactured parts versus legacy aircraft parts? I know dealing with a lot of legacy parts, finding tooling and finding the guy who used to make it is real hard, and switching over to a new process is very valuable, but it's very hard with the DoD supplier, with the documentation and everything. How do you guys handle that?
Yeah, well, there are some differences when we're source inspecting additive parts versus traditional parts. And for example, so we might require a supplier to go get an X-ray or CT scan of the part to ensure its structural verification and structural reliability to meet what our drawing requirements are. Obviously within additive, one of the risks is porosity within the build. So we want to verify that. So there are some extra steps that we have to go through to verify the integrity of the part is good within additive.
Do you have suppliers that do that for you, the inspection, or do you put that on the sub?
Some of our suppliers have that internal capability and have grown their vertical capability. Some of our suppliers have material testing in-house. They have a CT scanner in-house. Others send it out to external suppliers to verify or meet the requirements of the drawing. So, if you're a new supplier and you don't have that capability, that's okay. There are external sources that we can point you towards that can help you with those inspection methods.
How much emphasis do you recommend students have on additive with their education?
Well, a lot of universities, from my limited knowledge that I know of, that offer additive manufacturing courses and that have machines and training courses, and I know our suppliers look heavily at recruiting out of those universities. One of the previous speakers talked about hands-on experience. And I totally 100% agree with that, right? The more hands-on experience that you can get, especially in the college arena where you're maybe not building on, a flyaway part, but you're testing out the technology, you're getting hands-on experience with the machine, you're modeling the the structure supports that it would take to build a particular part. You know, that type of experience is, I think, invaluable. So as much as you can get that hands-on experience, that'd be great.
I agree. What types of materials do you use additively manufactured parts? Is it metal, polymers, you know, what spectrum of parts do you use?
So everything, right? So we have parts that are flying with nylon, plastics, you know, we have Ultem, we have titanium, aluminum parts, you know, so, you know, the whole spectrum and gamut. Again, you know, everybody likes to put additive in a distinct, unique category, but it's working on becoming a commodity just like any other commodity is. Aerospace is going to continue requiring, you know, the same parts, you know, to support our various products, you know, continually. So in my mind, I don't want to paint additive in such a unique spotlight, right? Although there are unique materials that additive can produce in, and we definitely don't want to ignore, you know, some of those upcoming technologies. Right?
In the next 5 years, what percentage of suppliers do you expect to have incorporated AM?
I don't know what type of percentage, you know, but...
How much have you seen grow just in the last few years?
Tremendously, right? So, you know, 50 to 100% year over year. I mean, like I said, as our engineering designs and inserts more additive into our products, you know, we need more suppliers to be able to help us build these products. And we are growing capability internally as well, but we'll always have internal and external capability. So, you know, tremendous growth year over year. I am looking to qualify new suppliers to support our demand. And in some cases, I'll say, Chris, you know, we don't have enough capability in the supply chain to support our demand today.
Really?
Right, in certain categories, in certain arenas, absolutely.
That leads to another good question. What would you recommend they get into? If you said, I don't have enough of this, what is that you need, that you're looking for? Yeah,
so metals is a huge growth area for us right now. So you're looking at powder bed capabilities, suppliers that have EOS machines. Mm-hmm. You know, we really look at, you know, but again, we're not just limited to one. I'm seeing growth in polymers and plastics as well.
Right.
So it's just as engineering figures out how to design and optimize for additive, and again grows those parts. I mean, we're going from, you know, structural parts and integration of parts to full-on assemblies, and as those new inventions come up, Boeing's going to take a look at whatever material and manufacturing method makes sense, and it may not be additive, right? I mean, additive is just one technology solution in a host of many, right? I mean, if a composite part makes more sense than going an additive part, we're going to go the composite. Path, right? So,
right. No, I tell people it's just a tool in the toolbox. It's not magic. Yeah.
Exactly.
Frank asks, how can CMTC help suppliers adopt AM? And I'll answer that. What I do is I go out and I look at their process. I do an assessment and see how additive can help. And there's several different ways additive can help an organization. And it could be just prototyping, which everybody's familiar with, but still a lot of people aren't doing. It could be fixtures and jigs, like you mentioned, to help quality, throughput, inspection, so forth. And then also adopting design for additive, topology optimization, generative design. I help companies understand all these things and incorporate it into their business, because 85% of all manufacturers are less than 20 people, so they don't have a lot of expertise and help. And I hook them up with different California suppliers, you know, because we don't have any capability. What I do is I help go in, identify opportunity, make connections to California companies that can help and bring those services in. That's kind of our forte, is helping manufacturers grow with expertise they don't have in-house. So that's how CMTC helps. And I've been doing additive for about 25 years, and seeing it grow into manufacturing from prototype into production is exciting. This is a great time right now. What kind of CADCAM programs are you using? Which ones would you recommend students learn?
There's a whole host of CADCAM programs and softwares out there. there's not one particular one. I mean, a lot of our engineering uses CATIA, right? So that's one of the main
aerospace
standard ones.
It uses CATIA. Yeah. Do you have any internal spec that drives material processes? Do you have like a preference?
So we have specific specs that are for the unique additive processes and materials. Right? We usually have a material specification to go along with a process specification. There's no guidebook that tells you which one to use, right? So we're, one of the things we're seeing, or what we're trying to do within Boeing, is train our engineering workforce on how to design for additive.
Right.
Right. And
it's a whole different ballgame.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So picking the specific additive type and knowing which one to pick is something that's really crucial and crucial for my job and our supplier's job in being able to deliver parts. If we pick the wrong additive type, or we call out the wrong material for something that we're trying to design for, and it becomes end up being not manufacturable, right? That's going to put all of us in a bad position. So the training of our engineering workforce is absolutely critical, and knowing how to train design parts and additive.
Right. Question: How much time savings have you realized by switching from conventional to additive?
Yeah, it varies based on the cases. I'll say in the case of commercial crew, and we did a lot of the air ventilation and ducting, right, on that program. In some cases, we saw weight reduction of like 50% on a lot of those parts. Wow. So it depends on a case-by-case basis. And in some cases, in the metal parts, we're seeing a stronger part built additively than traditionally, right, from a structural integrity standpoint. So, a lot of cost savings. Obviously, the speed of additive manufacturing is something that's enticing when you're comparing additive to, say, a 6-month casting, right? When you can build a part, and a lot of people think, you snap your finger, I can print a part in a day, right? Well, when you start taking a look at the entire process, the post-machining or the post-processing steps you have to take, the quality inspection requirements, the CT scan, for example, it's not necessarily, hey, build a part and I get it in a day and snap my finger. Yeah. But when you're comparing it to a 6-month casting, it can look very favorable. Yeah. Right? Well,
that's what I tell people. I tell people you're not going to save money by printing a bolt.
Yeah.
But when you throw the bolt away, now you're saving money. Coalescing assemblies. Exactly. I know GE coalesced an assembly for a heat exchanger from 4,000 parts down to 1 part.
Yep.
So,
yep.
When you say you have partnerships with your subs and you're getting feedback from them and they're helping you with subs like Morph and Olerkin, what kind of collaboration opportunities do you guys have?
Yeah. So we are collaborating with some of our supplier partners, some of the recent announcements in the news, Olerkin or Morph 3D, for example. These collaborations and partnerships are really to help us speed up the standardization and qualification of additive manufacturing. Some suppliers out there that have great capability, and we really want to try to grow additive and leverage additive and what that brings from a manufacturing standpoint into our product lines. And so, some of these collaborations and partnerships, are meant to help stabilize the technology and help speed it up and help us go a little bit faster in terms of the qualification process.
So if they help you develop a process, do they own it? Do you own it? Do you share it with your other subs? I don't know how much of that you can share. I'm just curious.
I'll just say, each case may be individual and unique in and of itself. Generally, Boeing wants to leverage the technology that's out there. And again, I think our recent announcements show that we're willing to partner with suppliers, because it's really a team effort. Building products, most of you guys are suppliers out here. You know what it takes to build the products that you guys do day in and day out. And it takes a team to build a 737. It takes a team to build a satellite, right? And so we really want to partner with our suppliers more and more, right? And I think additive is just there's no exception to that rule. There's a lot of great suppliers and a lot of great talent that exists out there in the supply chain. and we'll seek to partner with suppliers where the great capability exists.